It's October 14th. We're coming to you live. Welcome to the MBA Show.
Nice. We'll start it off with some headlines.
All right. Bank of America has announced that they are canceling all of their foreclosures in the entire 50 United States.
Tom, why don't you fix the sound? Oh, nice. Okay. What was that headline with proper sound?
Bank of America is canceling their foreclosures in every state in the United States.
So every single state?
Every single state, no foreclosures. Well, actually, it's kind of an interesting situation. So what's happening is the banks are going to courts. They're trying to foreclose on homes, and people are basically saying, prove that you own my house.
And do the bank own all those houses?
They do, but they're not able to show it because they've been trading that mortgage so much that they can't even tell who owns what.
Oh, sweet God. Okay, so what does this mean for MBA students?
Well, what this means for MBA students is that if you go work for a big Fortune 500 company, such as Bank of America, that you're going to have to deal with the idiotic, stupid public.
Well, you've already had to deal with the public. Like, you mean as like an officer and executive, we need to take into account what the idiotic, stupid public thinks in our decisions?
Yes, even if it's completely irrational. So let me explain what's going on here, right? So what it looks like in the press is that this is the big guy shitting on the little guy. Banks trying to foreclose on homes they don't own. What's really going on is it's not clear which bank owns the house. But it is clear, nobody disputes the fact that the foreclosure should be going forward. We're just disputing which bank owns it. So we're not able to foreclose simply because we don't know who has the rights to that. And so basically if you're a bank, you have right to that house. You just can't prove that you own it, and so you're not able to foreclose. So you have to take into account what the public is thinking and not foreclose on that house, even though it makes good business sense.
So this is something, like, to me, this seems like something that small companies have known for ages. Like, if you're a small company and you were a member of your community, you were always taking into account the politics of, like, what's the right thing to do for the community? What decisions should I make for politics? This is just big companies doing the things that small business owners have always, in fact, things that big companies used to know when they were run like little fiefdoms of, people who were rich their whole lives and saw themselves as members of the community.
Well, what caused the breakdown?
You know what caused it? MBAs. Us coming in and us instituting models and decisions made totally on business rationality is the reason why banks back themselves in the corner, and now, like they used to do, they have to see themselves as members of the community.
Well, I think the fact that big companies now have to see themselves as the community and now they have to act in a more conscientious manner is actually going to usher in, over the next decade, a new era of global good citizen corporation. I think this is going to be great for the public.
I could not disagree more. I think you are wishful thinking. Here's what I think is going to happen. MBAs are going to continue to run these organizations, and things like public goodwill and moral decision-making is just going to be another line item in the Excel model that we use to make decisions about what banks should do. Congratulations, the reduction of moral logic to an input in your Excel model.
Well, at least it's in the Excel model.
Okay, fair enough. But we have even better news coming up. This is our best headline.
Even better news ever. We're all getting jobs.
We're getting jobs. Oh, chest bump. Come on.
We're all getting jobs.
So Tom, how do we know that we are all getting jobs?
Well, I visited the Career Center this week, and I met with the director of the Career Center, Jackie Wilbur, and I talked to her about the forecast for the MBA job hunt. This is for first years and second years, and it's looking good.
Okay, excellent. So how do we know it's looking good? Like we're MBAs. What are the numbers?
That's a very good question. So the data that the Career Center monitors to try to determine whether or not anyone's going to get a job is the number of postings of what they call opportunities and postings of jobs. So you might be wondering, what's the difference between an opportunity and a job?
What's the difference between an opportunity and a job, Tom?
Yeah, so an opportunity is when a company comes to campus and makes a financial, they put money down to recruiting here. That's an opportunity. So opportunities are very, very valuable.
So that's not just a job exists. That means I'm spending money or time on this campus.
Yeah, I'm going to recruit a person. I'm sending someone out there. Yep. A job posting is just throw up our announcement on the Sloan, message board or something like that. That's a very low commitment. But opportunities, so last year for the 2010s, for the class that graduated before us, their opportunities were up 40% over the year
Wow.
before, which brings it to 2007 levels before the economic
And
crisis.
2007 was great. I remember 2007. I thought I was never getting an MBA because
Right.
jobs were everywhere and plentiful. We were growing like gangbusters. I loved 2007. So 2007 is back.
Yes, 2007. Actually, 2007 was back last year. We are now going to be better than
So
2007.
2009 is the new 2007, and
That's
2011 is not the new 2008.
We're going to party like it's. Let's just party.
All right, and is this just a Sloan thing?
Actually, so we're unsure whether this is a Sloan thing or not, but we'll know more after the meeting of the B7.
Steve Marcus, you should stay and watch the rest of the MBA show. We're live
yeah.
streaming over the internet. Okay. So is it Sloan or not?
So it's not. Well, we don't know. We'll know more after the meeting of the B7.
Yep.
This week.
What is the B7?
B7, much like the G7, is a meeting of the sort of self-identified group of 7 top business schools.
So let me see. I bet you I can actually guess what this list is.
I'll monitor the list.
Okay. So Tom has not told me. We're gonna play this guess. So I am gonna guess we're at Harvard, Wharton,
Yes.
Stanford,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Northwestern,
Kellogg.
Kellogg, Columbia,
Columbia.
and
Just got $300 million in a donation 2 years ago.
$300 million, and many schools got. Oh, what's number 7?
Chicago Booth.
Chicago Booth. Okay.
Excellent.
So the meeting. When does the meeting of the B7 take place?
I'm not sure, but it's pending. So what they want to do is they want to wait for more numbers to come out so that when they meet, they'll all be able to compare information. So it's not quite there yet. So it'll probably be next semester.
Okay. So what else did you learn from your trip to the Career Center?
Oh, one of the interesting things is that I always thought the Career Center's entire purpose in life was to serve the MBA student.
Now let me be clear. The Career Center. Let me be clear. The Career Center's entire purpose in life is to serve the MBA student.
Oh, come on. No. So it's actually, this is like many other things, this is a two-sided market here. You've got MBA students all trying to get jobs, but you also have companies posting jobs. And it's the Career Center is a go-between in these two markets. So the Career Center needs to make sure that the students are getting jobs and have access to the market, but they also need to be looking out for the interests of the companies, making sure that they have access to students and they can recruit well.
So this doesn't make any sense to me. The goal here is for us to get jobs.
Yeah.
That's what the Career Center should be focused on. Why should they be caring about the needs of these like giant companies? Like the goal is to get us jobs.
I'll tell you why, and it's because if we just let the Career Center focus entirely on students right now,
As
getting
they should.
jobs,
As they should.
then what that creates is a misalignment of incentives, because you could maybe get somebody a job this year at the expense of students in future years.
So I'm looking for a job this year. What do I care about students in future years?
Wow, good question. So you care about students being able to get jobs in future years, because if they can't, that erodes the value of your MBA.
How so?
If no one gets jobs, people stop showing up, they stop paying. It's like the MBA economy shuts down.
And I guess you miss the value of the network, because let's face
yeah.
it, MBAs hire other MBAs. So the
Right.
more MBAs that are out there in jobs right now, the better it is for the future. And in organizations, it's a set of connections that you can make.
So let me give you an example
Okay.
of something that you should not do. That's a bad thing to do for a student this year, is to sign up for 100 different company presentations.
I don't have time for 100. I signed up for maybe 50.
Okay, so you sign up for 50, and you go to the first 10, and then suddenly you get a job.
Yay!
This probably won't happen to you, but somebody else would go to the first 10, get a job, and then they stop attending, and they
Yep.
don't let anyone know that they're not coming.
Yep.
Then company X shows up, so big bank co shows up to their presentation. 70 people have signed up, and only 10 people are there. And they feel like, why are we even bothering to recruit here? Everyone signs up and no one shows. This is a waste of our time, and then they leave and never come back.
So that marks us for the start of a new item here on the MBA Show.
New tradition.
A running list that we are going to keep of rules for your MBA, rules to help you through your MBA. And Tom, based on that, what is
Rule number 1.
the MBA Show's first ever rule number 1?
This is the campfire rule, which is leave the place better than or equal to how you found it. So you come to school, you want to get a job, don't screw up the school for the people that are coming behind you. If you're a 2011, make sure the 2012s have just as good of a recruiting environment as you had.
Because if you do, the value of your MBA increases. This is not about helping people for the future. This is about your own self-interest.
Do it for yourself, but do it for the other classes.
Okay,
as well.
done.
All right. Now let's talk about another new segment.
I'm very excited. What's the new segment, Tom?
It's called Howard Says.
So we're very lucky to have as a guest here our icon, my God. I keep a small shrine to this man in my house, and I make a small prayer to him every morning. That would be legendary venture capitalist, Mr. Howard Anderson.
Hello, Howard.
Who's Howard Anderson, Tom? For those in the audience whose shrines are maybe out in the shop right now.
So you mentioned he's a legendary venture capitalist. He's also an entrepreneur.
He's also tall.
And he's known for his funny, iconic words of wisdom that we're going to share with you on the show today. And our very first Howard Anderson quote will be...
Howard, what do you have to say to us in the audience this week?
If you don't come in on Saturday, don't bother coming in on Sunday.
Thank you, Howard. Let's move on to jargon. Our jargon this week, use case. Tom, how did this become a piece of our jargon?
I was talking to my wife and I used the term use case. I said, oh, that's a very strange use case. And she accused me of using MBA jargon.
I think the jury finds you guilty as charged.
So what is a use case?
A use case is a hypothetical situation in which someone would use a product or a service.
Give me an example.
So this is when you're thinking about designing, let's say, a service online that helps podcasters.
Okay.
You know, the use case would be, let's say, two morons at a business school decide to start a podcast and insist that everyone in the cafeteria watch them tape this podcast.
So that would be a completely different use case from two normal people taping a podcast, and you may design the product differently depending on whether it's morons or normal people.
And the use case has to do with the situation in which people will use your product and the services and features that you offer. Colloquially, you can use this to basically illustrate any situation, and it's an important part of being an MBA to use jargon, so we recommend that you throw this in at any time.
Yeah, depending on how close you are to Harvard. We're very close to Harvard, so we have to use lots of jargon.
Tom, what's our business school tip of the week this week?
Business school tip of the week is how to use the Career Center better.
Yep.
So, from my meeting with Jackie, it was clear to me that the Career Center is willing to go to the nines to help students get jobs. They will pull out all the stops to help you, but they're not going to do it for everybody. They need to do it for the right kind of person. And the kind of person that they are really going to be able to help is somebody that, A, knows what they want.
Yep.
You need to know what you want. You have to be able to tell somebody what you want.
Yep.
And you have to be convincing that you want it.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, I really want to do consulting. Help me get a consulting job. And I'm also considering pharma as well. You have to say, I want to do X. I'm very convincing. I don't want anything else. That's what I'm going to do.
And if you get that job...
Yes, this is part of the campfire rule. If you get that job, you must take that job. Right? They've been burned before, right? They'll go to the nines to get student X a job at company Y, and then student takes job at company Z and leaves company Y and the Career Center out to dry.
And this is a reminder to me that we have these unbelievable resources available to us at business school. You ever feel like you're paying a ton of money for you don't know what? Here's the key. Ask.
Yes, you got to go ask for it.
You got to go ask for it. If you ask for it, you have unbelievable amounts of power at your disposal.
All right.
Tom, what's on your radar this weekend?
On my radar, my in-laws are visiting.
Hey.
Maybe I'll force them to watch the show.
They don't watch the show already?
I'm not even sure they've heard about the show, but this is an opportunity for me to get it on their radar.
Okay, fair enough.
My radar and their radar. What's on your radar?
I'm going up to the RPI reunion weekend this weekend with my wife. She went to Rensselaer Polytech. We're going to go check out some classes, see the school, and visit the lovely, lovely burgeoning metropolis of Troy, New York.
Well, that's it for the show. I'm Tom Rose.
I'm Miro Kaz.
And you've been watching
The MBA Show.
Thanks over there. Thanks.